Good morning, I'm Craig Christoffersen. Welcome to your morning devotion. Today we're going to be talking about replaceable parts. Now, leadership is always a temporary assignment, and that is simply because we only live for so long. We are only here for so long on earth, and then additionally, sometimes God only places us in a certain area or in a certain position for so long. Sometimes we're only doing a certain task for so long. And so leaders, they don't ultimately own teams or ministries or organizations or churches that they lead. They don't own it. They're just a steward of what the Lord has entrusted into their care for a season, however long that season may be. Sometimes that season is, the extreme majority of their life. It's 80% of their life. And sometimes it's 20% of their life. Who's to say? The Lord knows, and that is up to Him and His plans. But ultimately, you're only there for so long. And so as we have kind of discussed within our discipleship series, what are you going to do? What's going to happen when you're gone? What's going to happen when, you go up to heaven to be with the Lord? What's going to happen here at the church if you haven't replaced yourself? And we've been talking about the idea of discipleship and replacing yourself, and I'm just simply extending that and even covering topics and ideas that we've already discussed here. But Exodus 18, Moses is over the nation of Israel. I mean, it's one guy serving tons and tons of people. And so Exodus 18:14, it says, "So when Moses' father-in-law, who is Jethro, saw all that he did for the people, he said, 'What is this thing that you are doing for the people? Why do you alone sit? And all the people stand before you from morning until evening, bringing their cases to you.'" And, Moses, he gives an explanation. But Jethro's just saying here, like, what is going on here? Like, you alone are serving just hundreds of thousands of people. How do you do this? This is not appropriate at all. This is not good. He goes on further to say, so Moses' father-in-law said to him, "The thing that you do is not good. You serving all these people is not good. Both you and these people who are with you, you're going to wear yourselves out. This is not a proper system to take care of the problems. This thing is too much for you. You are not able to perform it by yourself." And so basically what Jethro has Moses do is select good people among the midst of the Israelites to set up as basically mini Moseses. He replicates himself in a mini manner so that the people of Israel can come to these other people, judges over 1,000, judges over those people, and they bring their problems to these kind of smaller representatives and solve those cases. But if the case is too big, then it comes up the chain all the way to Moses. So basically, Jethro has Moses replace himself in a bunch of mini kind of versions. And sometimes we only think about replacing ourselves in terms of leadership, right? What happens when the pastor moves on? Well, we need another pastor, and we need to, replace him so that the church keeps moving forward. But we don't often think of replacing ourselves and what we're doing if we're not the pastor. We kind of think it's up to the pastor to do that. But the thing is, if you are serving in a certain position, whether you're an usher or a musician or whatever, we all need to work to replace ourselves. No matter what your position within the church is, we need to try and replace ourselves. So this isn't just for pastors and church staff. This is, for ushers. Well, what can you do to replace yourself as an usher? If you have a kid, put your kid on the ushering team. Done. Simple. If you're a musician, well, if you know someone is taking piano lessons in the church, encourage them to take up piano and give them a safe environment to play the piano in the church where they're not going to, embarrass themselves, and it doesn't all rely on them. They're not the single piano player, for the service. But we need to find ways to replace ourselves, and it won't necessarily be an immediate replacement. It won't always be an immediate placement. The majority of the time, it's going to take actually a really long time. For example, if you don't have any specific position within the church, all you do is greet people when they come in. You see new people and you're like, hey, I want to talk to these new people. I want to make them feel welcome, right? And you don't have a specific title. You just like to talk to the new people, make sure they feel welcome. Well, you replacing yourself is not going to probably be necessarily immediate. But for example, you welcome these new families in, and one family decides to keep coming to church, and over the years they continue to grow in their faith, and now they're coming consistently. Well, it is most likely the case that because you consistently went and greeted them when they were a newcomer, most likely when they see a newcomer, they are going to remember how you treated them and how you welcomed them and how you made them feel at home here in the church. And they're going to be so thankful for that. And they're going to know what these new people are going through. And so it is most likely the case that they will be replicating you and go and greet the new people because they know what it's like to be in that situation, and they remember the kindness that you showed to them. So find a way to replace yourself. Let's ask ourselves this question. If we miss church, right? If we cannot be in church for some reason, we're away on vacation or whatever the case is, can church still run without you in the same manner? Are you replacing yourself, right? If everybody gets to church, but you're not there, and they don't know how to turn the soundboard on, or they don't know how to turn the projector on, or something goes wrong and nobody knows how to restart the water boiler, is church going to be messed up if you're not there? Or have you been training somebody to replace you so that everything continues to run smoothly? Are you in charge of like 1,000 different things that nobody else knows how to do? Maybe it's time to start training somebody and just showing them little things. Hey, this is how you restart the internet router. Hey, this is the on-off switch. This is where the breakers are located, right? We don't think of these things, but maybe somebody else also needs to know that information. And with this, with newcomers and stuff, you're giving them responsibility and you're making them feel a part of the church. We need to replace ourselves. Because at some point in time, maybe God takes us somewhere else, or God takes us home to heaven. So what is going to happen when we leave? Is it going to be a scenario where sometimes somebody dies within the church and it's a really big loss because nobody else knows how to do what they've been doing? Sometimes it's a really big loss, but the aim and the goal of the church should not be to end up with a bunch of big holes in the church when people pass on. But it should be more of an Elijah-Elisha type partnership where Elijah poured into Elisha, and Elisha did double the things that Elijah did, right? It should be a Moses-Joshua relationship where Moses trained Joshua and brought him up, and everybody knew when Moses is gone, it's going to be Joshua. But the problem is, it should not be a Joshua after relationship, because once Joshua was done, his allotment of time as the leader of the nation of Israel, Judges 2, 8 and 10, it says, "Now Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of the Lord, died when he was 110 years old, and they buried him," and such, and we skip to verse 10, and it says, "When all that generation had been gathered to their fathers, another generation arose after them, who did not know the Lord, nor the work which he had done for Israel." So there's a clear passing, there's a clear training between Moses and Joshua. But then Joshua didn't take anybody and train them. He didn't replace anybody. He didn't replace himself. When he went on, everybody was like, well, who knows what Joshua was doing? How do we do what he did? We don't know, because he didn't pass himself on. So we need to replace ourselves. There is not room for our ego in our position to say we are the only one who can do what we do. No, we need to replace ourselves and pour into the next person and into the next generation. And by doing this, it only strengthens the church. Romans and 1 Corinthians, they talk about the body being made of many members. There's a lot of different roles and responsibilities. And you need 2 hamstrings for your legs to function, for both legs to function. If you lose one hamstring, Well, that's going to suck and it hurts. I pulled my hamstring. And losing a hamstring sucks. You need to replace yourself. And so I hope today that I've got you thinking about what you do within the church. Hopefully you're doing something within the church. If not, then have a conversation with Pastor, and I'm sure there's something for you to do. I'm sure there's some way that you can help. But think about what you do in the church, whatever that may be, and start thinking of a way to replace yourself. Look at the kids coming up. Start pouring into them. Pour into a newcomer. Greet them, welcome them, make them feel at home, and teach them what to do. As Pastor's been teaching us, we need to go and make disciples. We need to replace ourselves. I hope this gets you thinking this morning. God bless you, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Amen.